Hello, my name is Mina, and I'm going to walk you through some of the challenges I personally had managing different outsourcing teams throughout the world. As many of you know, one of the most important aspects of being able to get things done is to acknowledge the cultural differences between the technical teams in different parts of the world. I'll give you an example. I used to manage a team in China, and then we did the communication by Skype. They were very good at the typing in English. The speaking was a challenge, and I didn't speak Chinese, so that was basically what we did. In United States, we are very direct when we provide feedback or answer questions. We say what we mean almost all the time. We sometimes even a bit exaggerate, and it's accepted among Americans. It is accepted, but it turned out this can have negative effects working with a great developer in China, because they are not accustomed to so much direct talking or giving direct feedback or criticizing the work. It has to be mentioned in a different way. Of course, there can be always this question of, well, why should I change? They should learn about how do we do things in this part of the world and do it that way. But at the end of the day, if you want to get things done in a pretty fast time, then that's the only way to go. Acknowledge the cultural differences, learn about at least a little bit, learn about what's common or not, and then act accordingly. I don't say don't take notes, but I have this philosophy that if it's that important, as a project manager, as a leader, you should remember. And there's no cheating with that. There's just you just sometimes don't have time to be able to bring or lead the whole team from point A to B by referring to the notes of 3 months ago. It's just no point. You should be able to build this story from the beginning to an end. Every day you look at where the story is leading. If is leading, it just kind of doesn't feel like it's getting anywhere. You have this role to shift it back where you think it's going. At the end of the day, I know you don't have to be the nicest person around, but you have to deliver. That's the hardest part. It means you have to gain the respect of your people to be able to deliver most of the time. And gaining the respect of your people means listening to them, remembering things, and being able to fill out the gaps, if any, among different resources, different developers. I personally had great experience working with teams in India. I work with different size teams. I worked with very, very talented developers, almost all of them smarter than I am. But then that's what's needed for a software architect. You need to design this system, you need to kind of visualize it in your head and have some technical plumbing into it, but then you need a great developer to criticize you and be able to help you make the design better, make the design more practical, and also make it buildable. Okay, buildable might not be the right term, but it has to be. You have to be able to build it, and in the app business, you have to be able to build something that's scalable. Now, with that being said, working with many different teams in India, I had no issue with the language. The language is understood, the culture was closer to our culture, and with a little bit of kind of testing the water originally, see how much I can push the envelope, provide feedback, I was able to get a lot done, and I was able to deliver whatever my responsibility was for that given project in the time that it was intended for it. I would, however, originally was a bit confused about the fact that, unlike some of us techie people in the United States, that our definition of who we are is what we do. Immediately after saying what's my name, I say what I do for a living. This is not the case in different parts of the world, in Europe, in India, or very many different parts. So you always have to take into account that in other countries there are lots of celebrations, holidays, personal time off, and anything that can affect what you committed as a project manager for the delivery of the project. You always have to take these things into account. You cannot get upset that, if somebody's out on a personal notice, let's say getting married, this ceremony can take much longer than what we are accustomed to. Or, I always joke, I actually, I remember for myself, I was checking email when I got married during the honeymoon, but then that's not the case for many people who work, in different countries. So the second part is depends on the team you choose, where you choose, and which part of the world it is. You deal with different type of challenges. All of them are just challenges. You just have to learn how to go about them and solving them.